Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So today I'm here to do a video to show off the video capabilities of the BlackBerry Mobile KEY2. I've been using mine, of course, for a very long time. I've got the red edition now that I'm actually recording on. So if you see a diminished quality in the overall video, that's why, because I'm using the KEY2 right now, because I figured, well, if we're going to show off the video, why not show off how good it is for the entire video? So we're going to go through, do some vlog stuff, go shoot some video outside and have a look at it and test out the features. But before we do that, I do want to say if this is your first time stopping by the channel, I appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. Now let's take a look at the KEY2 video. So this is the BlackBerry KEY2 on 1080p at 30 frames per second. The front-facing selfie camera tops out 1080p at 30 frames per second, but the rear camera, or the primary shooter, will do 4K at 30, 4K at 24, and it'll even do 1080p at 60 frames per second, which is something that's pretty neat, especially for a phone like the KEY2. A lot of people wouldn't think that it's capable of doing such high quality or high frame rate whenever it comes to the video recording. And then this is with the native microphones built in. There's a really nice breeze today because there's a cold front coming through, but I thought I'd take this out so you can get a feel for what it looks like out in the real world. So this is with 1080p at 30 frames per second. As you can see, it's bright and sunshiny outside today, and you can see in the back that I just left that at Best Buy, but you saw some of that video footage already. It does have video stabilization, or image stabilization for the video whenever you're recording, but unfortunately it cuts off for the front-facing camera when you go to 1080p at 30, and if you go on the primary camera to 1080p at 60, it shuts off as well. But on the lower resolutions and frame rates, it does have it. I went ahead and turned off the video stabilization, so this is still 1080p at 30 frames per second, and I'm still doing the same thing, just walking up and down the sidewalk. But the camera is handheld. I'm just holding it in one hand while I walk and I talk with it, so you can get an idea for how effective the video stabilization actually is. This is not really a substitute for a vlogging camera, or it's not on par with the newer stuff in 2020, 2021, but as far as BlackBerries go, I think that it's perfectly good for probably most things people want to use it for. So this is 1080p at 30 frames per second with the video stabilization on. I mentioned this earlier, if you go over 30 frames per second on the 1080p, if you go up to 60 frames per second, or if you go to 4K at 24 or 30 frames per second, then you lose the video stabilization. So this is, I'm just walking with the phone in my hand right now so you can see how well the stabilization actually works. And now I'm going to switch over to non-stabilized mode so you can have a look at the difference. So you've had an opportunity to see 1080p, 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, test out the front-facing selfie camera, and now shooting at 4K at 30 frames per second. You can do 24 frames per second if you want the cinematic effect, but since I'm out walking around right now and it's not in a still position, I want to do 30 frames per second. It'll make it look a little bit more smooth. Ideally, it would be perfect if it had 4K at 60 frames per second, but with the Snapdragon 660 that's in here, and the software is just not capable of handling that. So I'm looking forward to the new BlackBerry coming out later this year that has better resolutions, better frames per second. But for 2018 hardware, I think that this looks pretty good, and I think that if you want to go out and shoot with it, you'll be perfectly happy. Okie dokie. So I think we've covered all the bases. We've checked out 1080p at 30 frames per second with the video stabilization on, with it off. We've tested out 4K at 30 frames per second and done a lot of different things, even showing off the slow-mo capabilities, which is pretty neat that you have a BlackBerry and you can shoot slow-mo video. Now, this is not as good as like an S21 or an iPhone 12, any of that crazy noise, but when you look at a phone that was made in 2018, with the Snapdragon 660, and with what it brings to the table, this is, I think, pretty decent. I think that this lives up to probably what expectations would be, and it goes to show that you can actually use this for something more than just typing on. But yeah, I wanted to go ahead and take the opportunity because some people may still be interested in this phone. Some people may be looking at it as a stopgap to upgrade from maybe a Priv or something older and want to know, hey, how does the video hold up? Can I use this for more than just typing? I mean, yes, BlackBerry phones are more than just a keyboard, but this right here I don't think is something that really has been highlighted or talked about. Of course, yes, it's not cinematic quality. This is not something where you're going to use this on a day-to-day basis for a real vlog style camera because you want better equipment. But if you want to be able to use your phone, this right here I think is a solid demonstration of what the realistic and real-world capabilities are for the BlackBerry KEY2. So that's all I've got. Hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I'll get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.